experience with House Intruder. This happened a while ago, so I apologize if some things do not seem clear. I've removed this experience from my memory for an obvious reason, but now decided to tell people about what happened as I realized it's something I shouldn't hide. Me and my brother Ron were in my room watching the NFL, screaming at the screen when our team would do something idiotic. We were 40 minutes into the game. The cornerbacks were messing around out of frustration. Ron slammed his fist into the remote, turning off the television by accident. I said, "What the fuck?" and then turned the TV back on. As the screen loaded back up, we heard fast-paced footsteps downstairs. Ron and I quickly turned our heads to the bedroom door. I turned down the volume to hear the noises clearer. "I think someone's inside," Ron said. I could hear the stutter in his voice. He was anxious. "No, it's probably just the dog," I sighed. Ron, however, was a lot more cautious. He walked over to the door and locked it. The click it made obviously alerted the intruder. At the time, though, I brushed it off as my Jack Russell Terrier. We heard even more footsteps. Ron whispered, "That's not the dog." Ron, being nervous, put me on edge, so I agreed with him and turned off the bedroom lights. Ron ran around the room trying to find some sort of object we could use as a weapon. I sat next to the door with my ear placed on our wall. They were thin, so if there was anyone inside the house, I would hear. Nothing happened. It was dead silent with our heavy breathing. "Take a look," Ron said. He had his phone turned on just in case we needed to phone 911. I lay on my chest and looked through the gap under the bedroom door. I saw blackness, but I could see faded boots down the upstairs hall. I felt my hands shaking as I pushed myself back to my feet. I tiptoed to Ron, who was waiting anxiously for the answer. "Someone's here," I whispered as low as I could. Ron's face went pale as he stared into nothingness. At one point, I thought he was going to black out on me. I pulled Ron over to our window. I quietly opened the window and looked down at the grass, 2 stories below my current position. Ron was still in a different world, as if he had blocked himself from reality, leaving the responsibility to me. I tried to not pay much attention to him and instead focus on escaping. I took Ron's phone out of his hand as he crouched on the carpet. He had installed one of those apps where specific fingerprints can enter the phone. I took his hand, which was shockingly freezing, and held his pointing finger on the screen. I jumped out of my skin when the phone let out a loud beep, and all of a sudden, I could hear footsteps running straight to the bedroom door. I quickly typed 911 and put my leg out the window. I heard thumps on my bedroom door and shouting. He was shouting, "I'm going to kill you." I landed on the porch roof and shouted to Ron to snap him back into action. Ron stood up quickly and stumbled outside of the window. He landed on the roof beside me as I forced the window shut again. "We need to jump," I said. I could hear faint thumping behind the walls. He was struggling to get inside our room. I jumped off the porch roof and sprained my ankle. Ron was wobbling on the edge of the roof. "Quick," I said. I avoided shouting as whoever the intruder was would have known we were outside. Ron touched his chest, head, right shoulder, and left shoulder, making the cross, and jumped. He rolled when he landed on the floor and rubbed his neck as we ran blocks. We had run a good 6 blocks till I realized I'd left the dog behind and heard a faint voice in my jean pocket. I pulled out the phone to hear a woman asking if I was still there. I told her that we needed cops immediately. She told us to stay on the line and cops were en route to the house. I burst into tears from fear of what just happened and worrying if my dog was hurt. I talked to the operator as both me and Ron slowly walked back to the house. We heard the siren and felt weight lifted off our shoulders. I sat in my chair on the porch with Ron in a squat position beside me, both waiting to come face to face with the intruder. 4 cops came out. There was no man, but one of them was holding Lewis. Lewis was my dog. I stood up and held Lewis close, kissing his head and patting his back. I sat down in the chair and placed him on my lap, still hugging him and apologizing for leaving him behind. The cops explained that there was nobody inside. There was nothing stolen either. In fact, they explained there was nothing there that would have proven someone invaded our property. They never found him, but I can assure you I haven't had one good night's sleep since. Every night I lock my door and keep my dog with me in my room. Ron installed some CCTV cameras in both of our houses. We both agreed never to speak about it again.